The Michigan Wolverines just got a triple dose of good news. Let's talk about it. I'm Paul, and together with my buddy Aaron, we are the Big Ten guys. Tune in here for all the latest news, analysis, hot takes, all things Big Ten. This is the channel for you. Please just take a quick second, hit that like and subscribe, and get those alerts on. We got a lot more Michigan and Big Ten content coming this summer. So let's dive right into it. Michigan didn't get one, not two, but three pieces of good news this week, and we got to talk about it. Let's start with some of Sharon Moore's comments from this week. Talking about the defense, he brought up TJ Metcalf, transfer corner from Arkansas. Didn't just praise him as, a solid contributor on the defense who's getting a little better. He says, I think he can be one of the best players in the Big Ten. And this is huge news for the Wolverines. I think if you're looking at that defense, you see the front seven with Rayshon Benny, Derek Moore, the transfers Damon Payne and Trey Williams should be solid on the interior. I mean, the linebacking crew is looking great. But I think the secondary gives a lot of Michigan fans a little pause because, you lose Will Johnson to the NFL. You lost our guy, Michigan legend, Mikey Sainristil still the year before. It's like, who's going to step up and be that next guy? And to hear that TJ Metcalf is looking amazing is huge news for the Wolverines. And then, honestly, you got Rod Moore coming back from his injury, and then Zeke Berry filled in pretty well last year, and Jair Hill. I think this secondary is really starting to come together. And if guys like TJ Metcalf can break out and become elite starting cornerbacks, I think this Michigan defense is going to be scary again. And Lord knows Wink Martindale knows what he's doing. And I'm getting pumped for this defense. If you haven't caught this show before, I'm a huge Michigan fan. My buddy Aaron, he's a huge Michigan State fan, but he is not here today. So we are all aboard the maize and blue hype train. He tries to keep me in check. He's not here. Nobody's keeping the hype train in check. I'm drinking that Kool-Aid today. So let's get into that second bit of good news, and that is Bryce Underwood. Obviously, all Michigan fans, we know about Bryce. Dude's a stud, but he is working hard to get even better. 15 pounds of muscle in the offseason. That's ridiculous. I don't even think he's 18 years old yet, and he's already the same size and height and weight as Josh Allen. Just absolutely unreal. He says, I feel it's made me more explosive, and they help, the extra weight's helping with his speed, and he feels faster. I love hearing that. The dude's got a rocket for an arm. So to hear he's putting the time into the gym to get even more athletic and bigger, probably going to be capable to take more hits. Hopefully he doesn't have to, but you want your quarterback to have some size, and he's got it, which for a true freshman to be 230, that is absolutely ridiculous. And I promised you three pieces of good news. The good news does not stop there, and it doesn't stop with Bryce Underwood. I think what you see right here is even bigger than the 15 pounds of muscle. Obviously, guy was the number one recruit in the country. You know that Bryce Underwood physically is incredibly gifted. But we've seen physically gifted QBs before who didn't quite pan out. You got, obviously, Joe Milton wasn't as highly recruited as Bryce Underwood was, but he had the size, the speed. Guy literally could throw a laser beam, but he just couldn't put it all together. So I think to see that before his freshman year has even started, Bryce Underwood is growing, I think that's a positive sign. I love, if we kind of scroll through this article a little bit, you see Sharon Moore talking about how he's a humble, hard-working young man. You love to hear that because, you can have all the talent in the world, but if you're arrogant and thinking you don't need to get better and not willing to work hard, you're not going to progress the way that us as Michigan fans would like you to progress. So to hear he has the right attitude and has the right work ethic is huge as a Michigan fan. And then kind of looking even a little farther, you see Sharon Moore talk about the biggest stride he's made is being able to like digest things in the huddle, and like the processing. And that's something I love to hear, because there's been plenty of starting quarterbacks in college and in the NFL who have all the physical gifts but struggle with the mental aspect of the game. And then you see a guy like Tom Brady. He, of course, had some physical gifts as well, but he was just mentally such an elite player. I know he's been talking with Bryce Underwood. Hopefully he can help coach him up, but it's just great to see that our guy Bryce is putting in the work. He's learning the system. He's understanding and processing at a high level already. And man, does it have me hyped for this Michigan season. Like, when you get the talent and the work ethic and the attitude and the mental ability, that's when you see truly special players. And I hope we get to see that from Bryce. And then looking into the season, I mean, man, I think the schedule's set up pretty well for Michigan. Like, obviously, New Mexico, I'd imagine we're going to see a couple Michigan quarterbacks in that game. Wouldn't surprise me if Michigan doesn't name a starter until the Oklahoma game. And I know Harbaugh loved doing that. It wouldn't surprise me to see Sharon do that as well. That Oklahoma game is going to be a big one. I mean, that's a tough place to play on the road, but I like Michigan in this one. They got a new QB coming in too. He'll be more experienced, but I don't know that they'll have gelled as well. Their defense certainly isn't going to be as good as Michigan's defense. I mean, I think that was a 6-7 team last year. I like Michigan to pull that one out. Michigan fans, I'd love to hear you in the comments. How are you feeling about that Oklahoma game? You think we're starting 2-0? Give me a score prediction, or at least a win-loss prediction. I'd love to hear from you. Then Central should obviously be an easy win. And then that game at Nebraska is going to be a tough one. If you've caught some of our videos, we've done some Nebraska content, and we think Nebraska is going to be kind of a sleeper this year. And if Dylan Raiola can take that next step, we're talking that's an 8 or 9 win team. And that, on the road, that's a tough place to play. They have an easy non-conference, so they're probably coming into that game 3-0, super hyped. That'll be a tough one, but, you know, I think if Bryce Underwood is even close to what we all think he can be, I think Michigan's got to be the favorite there too. And then, I mean, at USC is going to be tricky, and of course, Ohio State at the end will be tricky, but Wisconsin, Washington, Michigan State, Purdue, that's a lot of pretty easy games in there. You know, no Penn State, no Oregon. I really think this season is going to boil down to at Oklahoma, at Nebraska, at USC, and then home versus Ohio State. Even 2-2 in those games, and Michigan could be knocking on the door of the playoffs. But and if Bryce Underwood takes the leap, there's no reason they can't go 3-1 in those games and be, you know, a Big Ten championship quality team who marches right on into the playoffs. So I would love to see that from the Maize and Blue. Love to hear from you guys. How are we feeling about the season? How are we feeling about Bryce, the defense? Give me your thoughts. Give me your takes. Give me your predictions on the season. Thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see you with a lot more Michigan content later.